hearing that music in the background, I don't want to get a copyright claim for some bogus, cover performance by some lame singer. I don't get the deal with why everybody has to play music everywhere you go. I don't get the deal with why everybody. Okay, so yeah, if anybody, can you hear? I can't really hear that. Let me play it again. Really can't hear that. So get the deal with why everybody. Okay, so yeah, if anybody, can you hear? I can't really hear that. Let me play it. Can you guys hear the music? I don't hear the music. So anyway, welcome back to the program, folks. Chris live in merry old England. How y'all doing there? Trying to get a better angle there, so you got less of that gray sky and more of that green behind us. Anyway, so all good. You guys can hear it. That's good because it's driving me nuts. This guy can't sing. Thought I couldn't sing. No, I'm just teasing. Anyway, so George, what's going on there? Who else we got? Let me put on these reading glasses so I can see who's there. So we can hear you. I know you can hear me, but can you hear that caterwauling in the background? Don't want copyright claims. AJ Quinn. I remember when I covered the 6th of January and they were playing music and I got a copyright strike for music and I wasn't playing music. It's just on the street. Nothing I could do about that music, folks. Anyway, so how's it going, folks? How y'all doing out there? I see that the South African Megan Funderheaver did a story about Ronaldo. That's interesting. I have to read that. 8:30 in Europe, 8:30 in South Africa, and it's 7:30 here in merry old England. No, I just put on to look different. You want to look the same all the time in every broadcast. You don't want to be wearing the same clothes all the time. That's why I didn't. Not that I'm cold. Yeah, I bought this. This is crappy stuff. I bought this one at Lidl. So I don't know what's with the Sip on Sunshine limited edition coffee, toffee flavored honey. That did not say toffee flavor. Okay, well that's something special. I hope this isn't terrible. Let's see if it's better than the mocha one I had. Nah, it's not my cup of tea, but I bought a couple of them. Yeah, the spot's okay. It'll do. It'll do the trick. Anyway, guys. Eli Berserker, how are things going? Things are all right. Just crazy here. Just trying to sort out. I'll tell you, man, UK has got wickedly expensive since last time I was here. I think it's been over 3 years since I was here last. It's really got wickedly expensive. It's just crazy. I came after COVID in 2022, but here it is, and it's just off the charts. I think they think we're all Bill Gates. We're wealthy here. Yeah, it sounds walking on sunshine. Hey, Katrina and the waves. Anyway, so we talked on Ronaldo's program about some of the stuff going on in the news. It's a pretty crazy world out there. If I do the news from here, let me take a look at the news here. I'm gonna wind up with just UK news. So let's take a look here. Get the news, and they're gonna lead. Yeah, Keir Starmer faces Labour Council revolt over migrant hotels. That's a huge story to the migrant hotels. So messed up there. C.V. Vicar found guilty of indecent assault against 9 women. Oof. Yeah. So obviously focused on, I'd have to do a VPN to get the U.S. news. Helen, well, good to see you there again. Welcome back. So on my screen, my camera is backwards. Let me see how it looks on air. It's also backwards for you guys. Anyway, that's weird. It's the phone. I don't know how you change that. Lots of taxi violence happening in South Africa, I presume you're talking about. What was that about my favorite drink? Let me go back to that. Wonderful to see you. Your favorite drink not available. Well, I did get a $8.50 Frappuccino today at a rest stop. I just broke down and bought that. Bought a Frappuccino to keep me going because I was getting a little bit tired. The hour and a half drive took about 3 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes to get up here. It's all back roads. You have to cut across the Peaks District in the Midlands to come north to get up here. So when I leave, I'll just go mostly east and then go across to Newcastle and Sunderland for the Stadium of Light, which is where the game is Friday night, USA versus England. I don't think the Eagles can pull it off, but if they can pull it off, that'd be amazing. I just hope that the USA women don't disgrace America by taking a knee like they did in New Zealand. That was so disgraceful. See more relaxed away from USA. Actually, I'm more on edge than Merlot than on ease. No, I'm more on edge than anything. So don't know what to expect. Still no news on Andrew. Plane got caught in a current. Which Andrew? What are you talking about? Prince Andrew? Did you bring bread for the chunky pigeons? Man, these pigeons are huge, man. They're like freaking, Shetland ponies. You guys saw those pigeons when I did the live stream, man, the other day. They're big here too. Big ass pigeons, man. I mean, I've seen chickens smaller than this. These things are huge. They're eating well here. Missy Night Owls. Yeah, George, sorry about that, but I am not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to prepare for the news to do a 4 o'clock broadcast every day. It just ain't going to happen while I'm here. So sorry about that. Sorry about that. If I lived in South Africa, I'd consider it, but I don't live in South Africa, so and I'm here 1 hour behind you guys, so it isn't going to work. If I was an hour ahead, it was 7 a.m., I could do that. Yeah, there are a lot of sharks. That's why they have shark fences. You must be on edge. I'm the only white person. Yeah, there's a few here, but not a lot. Get up at 4 o'clock and listen. Well, I have to get up at 3 in order to do a broadcast. Well, if people miss me, they should watch my videos, but they're not getting much playtime. I mean, honestly, folks, let me take a look at this. My videos, a little disappointing. Yeah, so I did the refugee cap before I left. That only got 16,000 views. My last one before, they got 57,000 views. Then the big money in politics I got here, that got 16,000 views. And the one I did today in Paul Mashatile got 12,000. So it's not exactly CB, you're up all the time. You're like me. You're like a possum. No, those pigeons wouldn't survive in a lot of places in Africa. They would have eaten already. Yes, I know about the 3 ADA members, including Ian Cameron, whom I know personally. I don't know the other 2 DA members. Yeah. He was on Biz News and talked about his experience. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I will. Do I have the right to stay away from the local beer? Yeah, I don't drink beer here. It's not very good. The English can't make beer. Sorry. They don't know how to make beer. The Irish know how to make beer, but the English do not know how to make beer. The Belgians do, but I don't like their beer. Is that Rebecca Davis? What is she saying? Is that we're talking about the Daily Maverick? Let me go see Daily Maverick, see what's going on. I will be making a video about News 24 and its apology of Ronaldo once I'm finished here. Which one is it here? Scores of South African NGOs. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the NGOs. Actually, I got that sent to me by somebody from the U.S. government. Sent me that story earlier today. Yeah, she's trying to make a story out of nothing here. So I guess the gist of the story is that, well, gee, this NGO is going to, process South Africans to go to America, the same one that fired a bunch of South Africans. They want to bring Kenyans here. Yeah, what's your point? They didn't have a choice. The revenue dried up. So they act like those guys are bad actors. They're not. The revenue dries up. The revenue dries up. Not much you can do about it. Apologies if you've been getting spammed by Google for mass deletes. I've been cleaning out my Google account. No, I'm getting spammed by people back in the States about the Veterans Organization. It's really out of control, people's behavior. Turns out we apparently had a bartender that was dancing on the bar in April. A officer at the time was our service officer. He was there. He took photographs of it. Never mentioned it. April, May, June, July, August. 5 months of veterans meetings. He was a service officer, so he could approach any member of the board, any of the senior officers at any time. Never told us about the bartender dancing on the bar. Well, he was disciplined for his foul mouth and for being insulting to bartenders. And so he was given a 30-day suspension. And then he promptly apparently went out and dropped dimes and went to our headquarters and said that the board is out of control. They're not disciplining people for their bad actions. An action we didn't know about. One that he knew about as an officer of the board. He covered it up and hid it. So now he wants to take the photographs he had, which he didn't share or even tell us about, and he gives it to these people. This is the kind of behavior I have to deal with here. So now I've got to deal with an issue there. So I'm going to institute an investigation into his conduct to remove him from the VFW, because a person like that's not honorable. They're not honorable. There's a post in Telegram group talking about the Home Affairs going to give a speech about why they won't give visas. Well, that's fine. They can just make the case even stronger for Trump to let South Africans come in. They're just stupid. They're really stupid. They should just approve the visas and let it go. I don't know why they want to keep people there that don't want us to be there. I understand 2 of them were caught. And Ian said he shot, but I didn't know if he hit anybody. Oh, El Marie got her power back. Okay. Wearing a jumper sweater in the summer. That's the UK. Guys, I just put it on to wear something different. I'm not cold, okay? Relax. I was wearing a short sleeve shirt 20 minutes ago. Temperature hasn't changed. I just don't like wearing the exact same stuff all the time. because people watch these videos at different times later on, and so you don't want to give the impression like you never shower, you know. You'll notice I change kit 4 or 5 times during the day when I do multiple broadcasts. I try not to wear the same thing all the time. No, I'm not convinced it was random either. I think someone did this intentionally. Got a new fridge on Monday for the price of a month's rent, but it's pretty much empty. Sorry to hear that, Karen. The vote was on taxi bosses. Yes, I think he was targeted. Looking for a 4th guy. JP Smith's guys called him in the hospital. Okay, that's good. See, Philip, none of that's been that I've seen it reported yet. So thank you for that update. Exactly why try and keep us in South Africa? They don't want us to. Exactly. Yes, the hoodie is my favorite color, purple. That's correct. Yeah, no, it's I suspect, I have no evidence, but it's the whole situation is very odd, very strange. I suspect Ian Cameron and his party were ambushed. They were bushwhacked, and it was intentional. They may have used kids to do it, but it doesn't take much to pay kids to go out and target a car, tell them the plate number plate, and go for it. Yeah, no, I think that's the bottom line, but only after they take all your possessions, all your wealth, all your retirement funds, all your cash, all your jewelry, all your buckies, all your condos, all your houses, all your livestock, all your land. Once they have that, then they're happy to see you gone. But the sad thing here is, folks, is that the ANC doesn't rule for South Africans, certainly not for black South Africans. The ANC rules for the ANC. They make it clear all the time. All the time. Well, purple is a royal color. That's probably why it's my favorite. It's okay, Helen. You're not being forward. It's fine. They'll always find someone to blame. They'll blame England. They'll blame the Netherlands forever. They'll blame Jan van Riebeck until, the rapture. Yeah, Candace, things are getting worse. I know that. So let me just do this. I haven't had a chance to make this video. I was very busy yesterday. I meant to do this video, but I didn't get around to it. So let me just say this. I got to share this. Folks, it's happening for people. Look, I have no dog in the fight. I'm not encouraging anybody to come to South Africa. People have lied about me and said that I'm telling people how to get out of South Africa. I'm not. I'm not encouraging anybody to leave. And I'm also not encouraging you to stay. Excuse me, cigarette. It's not my place to tell you what to do. I don't live in your shoes. It's just my place to objectively report on what's going on and analyze as best I can, which is what I do every single day of every week. So what I will tell you is that it is happening for a lot of people. I have been contacted so many times now. I would say, just a rough estimate, I haven't counted, but I'd say probably it's now approaching 400 messages I've received from 400 different people in the past 3 weeks who are either got an interview, been contacted, submitted their paperwork, been interviewed, or already have a date to depart and have done their medical. It is happening. So, the bow is going to break soon, and a lot more people are going to start coming over here. People spazzing out, freaking out over the cap. I don't know why. I told people from the very beginning that the program has a cap. That doesn't mean we'll live up to the cap. So a lot of times we don't meet it. Sometimes we exceed it. It's just a planning factor. And President Trump, in his last year of his last administration, set the cap at 15,000 refugees, which is the lowest we've seen in a long time. But on average, we typically take between 40,000 and 150,000 refugees every single year. So from the very beginning on February 7th, I told you when I was asked that question, because people said, how many South Africans can you take? And I said, well, we can take all the minorities. That's not a problem. But the question is, will we take them all? And I said, there's an annual cap, and it's usually never more than 150,000. And I think that's what it was the last year of Biden administration, 150,000 or 125. I think it was 150. So I don't know what people are thinking of. I think they're mostly just right-wing trolls. And black supremacists are coming on and making these comments because most people don't really believe the nonsense that just every single person applies gets to come over the moment they want to come over. That's just ludicrous. And the whole thing about why do they ask about 3 months? Well, if you listen to my broadcast and my analysis, I explain to you why they ask whether you come 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. They have to get a feel for the program. We have it much easier when it comes to Kenya. With Somalis living in Kenya, they've been there for 30 years, many born in that camp. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, they process all those people. They have an idea who's ready, who can go. They do the background checks, do all that, and there's no rush to get people out. But this is in-country refugee status, which is very different, very different. You're not in a second country coming to a third country. You're in the original country coming to a second country. And we have to do the vetting before you leave there. there is a rush to get you out. So people have to be understanding. But I'll tell you, it's really crazy to see the nonsense people were writing. Probably with speeding things up. Well, maybe with Church World Services, with RSC. But also, I know that there are people from the State Department who also have come over to work in the embassy. And that's about all I can say about that. But there's been a push of manpower. It's not nearly enough. I mean, you probably need a few hundred people working on this program. I doubt there's that many people. But there is a push. There are some State Department people who came over to work. There is also the RSC team that's working on it from Kenya and trying to relocate to South Africa. And also the indication from Americanas that they're also helping with the screening. But the other thing that drives me nuts is people are just stupid, absolutely stupid. Who are the Kenyans to decide? Well, who are you to assume Kenyans decide anything? Kenyans don't decide anything. They simply do screening. Somebody has to screen. Somebody has to call and confirm these people are real, get the information, get the details, verify the information was submitted. It wasn't just something made up, and also confirm that they meet the standards. And then once they've done that, they forward the information on to a State Department representative, and from there it's handled. And then Americans do the interviews. And so I don't get where people think, who are the Kenyans? Well, the Kenyans are the people that are processing. If you don't like it, then shove it. Hit the road, Jack. Foot sec. Take it on the arches. This thing kills me. I know this is all just fake people, because on February 6th, you had nothing. Ireland wasn't taking you. Australia wasn't taking you. New Zealand wasn't taking you. England wasn't taking you. Great Britain wasn't taking you. Germany didn't want you. Switzerland didn't want you. Italy didn't want you. Spain didn't want you. Nobody was taking you, except Panama or Malta if you had a lot of money. Mauritius if you have a ton of money. So what's the whining about? You're getting a free ride to come to America. Just have to be patient. That's all. Yep. So I don't get it. Well, Holden, I don't know how many illegal immigrants, but it's probably a lot more than that, because we're exporting over 1,500 per day. So 10 days would be 15,000. So that would be 45,000 per month minimum. We haven't taken. That would mean 400. Oh no, 10,001. No, it'd be a lot more. Yeah, it wouldn't be that many. So you're right. I care who it is, as long as we get help from. Yeah, exactly, Kanye. That's exactly what matters. So the Amerikaners are helping. Somebody was bad mouthing him, saying, "Who are they to be screening people?" Well, Sandy, to my knowledge, they are. I'm not confirming or denying that they are. They aren't. I know that I've spoken to Sam Busa. Sam Busa told me that what they were trying to do. The State Department has officially announced it. They have put it in their WhatsApp groups. I know people who have been contacted by Amerikaners and have been given interview dates with the embassy. So that would tend to lead me to believe that what they say is true. I'm not here to argue for or against Amerikaners. Not my role. It's not my place. So yeah, it's all hands on deck. All hands on deck, folks. So there you go. Yeah, it's about 1,500 criminal alien invaders are being ejected each day from the United States. Last month, over a month ago, it was over already 1 million criminal alien invaders had either self-deport. I think it was 1.3 million has self-deported themselves, which is a good start. Cindy says, "Okay, thanks, Chris. Yeah, we don't know exactly. No, but I'm not gonna trash Amerikaners. I'm also not gonna promote them. I'm just gonna tell you what I know. So I did a video on that last week and talked about that. That's a short. I talked about the Amerikaners. So yeah, I'm not going to get sucked into the cat fight that is ensuing between a certain person with the same surname as an actress, a famous actress. I'm not getting involved in that. It's a gratification mentality at play with people, which is sad. They're in for a rude awakening. It's a huge operation. Well, it is a huge operation. Exactly, Ingrid, you're right. Wait, be grateful, and carry on normally. And that's the advice I've said all from the beginning, isn't it? I said carry on with your life normally, as if, make plans, clear the clutter in your house. You should do that all the time. I'm clearing the clutter in my house. Who knows? You don't live forever, right? So, and I said, can you get on with your life? Well, you don't know what it's like, man. It's terrible. I do know what it's like, but I can't change that. You can panic, you can spaz out, you can be angry, you can be upset, but that doesn't get you out any faster. That doesn't get you to your destination. It doesn't get you where you want to go. All you can do is fill out a statement of interest, answer the questions honestly. When you're called, answer the questions. When you're asked to go for medical, do your background checks, and wait for your flight. It's as simple as that. That's all you can do. And anything beyond that is just nonsense. So that's all I can tell people. So, there's a lot of people with this instant gratification. You're right about that. But that's just life in general. People are so spoiled in so many respects. And I'm not talking about people being spoiled because they're wealthy or privileged. I'm talking about people being spoiled because they expect things to happen instantaneously. It took 40 years to end the Cold War. It didn't happen overnight. It took a couple generations to end the Cold War. And it's taken 30 years to screw up the world and let the socialists take over. Now we're taking it back from them. Yeah, there you go. Refugee current. That's a good answer. And the person doesn't even know anything about refugees. The person is an asylum person, or so they claim. So anyway, but I did see that Professor G point out that he doesn't know of any asylum case for South Africans are getting approved, which is what I said. And I gave the data. I pulled the data from 2 years ago, and it showed 11% of the cases got approved. Not a lot. Of course, there weren't a whole lot of cases. Not a lot of South Africans were applying for asylum. It's not a good path. It's not a path because it's a confrontational path. It is an adversarial path. You must prove things. With a refugee, you don't have to prove anything. You just have to articulate. You have to explain your situation. You have to explain your genuine fear. If I was a South African, I was white, colored, Indian, I'd say, man, I can't get a job. I have a business. I can't get a contract with the government because I have 60 employees. They're forcing me to fire my white employees who are competent, to hire people who aren't competent simply based on skin color. I can't do business like that. That's racist, and it's unfair, and I'm being targeted. Why is that? I have legitimate fear my business is going to be taken over. It's going to be stolen from me. I've already had my neighbor had their land invaded, and the police did nothing about it, and they're destitute. So because they're white, because they're colored, because they're Indian. So I mean, it's all you have to do is articulate it. I don't know of anyone who's been disapproved yet. There may be somebody disapproved, but we just don't know about who it is. App generation expects everything to be done at the click of a button. You're right about that, Marley Quinn. But also some older folks too. Friend is leaving South in a few days as refugee. I'm so happy we have zero contact. I'm worried. Kids, what about them? Lots of people are leaving in a few days. Lots of people left the past few days. Alan, what's going on? Holding the Cold War did end. The problem is that we took our eye off the ball, and socialism reared its ugly face pretty quickly again. While the Americans and Europeans were navel gazing over Bosnia and the Balkans in the 1990s, the world went sideways. We had genocide taking place in Rwanda. We ignored that as it unfolded. We had chaos in Somalia. We weighed in on that prematurely. And the world went sideways. Yep. My principal's white, 25,000. She gets nothing back due to her being white. I don't know what the 25,000 rand is. Alexis random. Wouldn't applicants who submitted multiple statements of interest have a higher chance of being chosen? Nope, not at all, Damien, because the data is collated, and if we get multiple applications from the same people, they're tossed out. Pretty simple. So, nice try. Go ahead, gum up the works. You're just screwing it for other people, but good guess, but no, doesn't work. Robo's my daddy's message was retracted. I missed it. I don't know what you said because someone said listen to the colonel. Well, Lynette, when I said asylum is a bad path, I didn't say it's a no-go. I mean, I'm just saying I would never apply for asylum. I know the standard for asylum, granting asylum in America, it's very high, and it should be very high. First off, I mean, honestly, unless you're a Mikhail Baryshnikov and something happens while you're in the United States for the Bolshevik ballet that convinces you that it's unsafe to return home, most people who come here enter the country legally with the intent to defraud us by applying for asylum. If we were going to apply for asylum before they came here, probably wouldn't have granted them the visa. So most asylum seekers, even if they're legitimate, genuine, are frauds from that standpoint, if you think about it. I haven't seen any mosquitoes yet, but it's early. It's damp. Virtual Western Cape, not in Oxford. Okay. Typing with a sling. Was dog sore? Also, I'm sorry to hear that you're typing with a sling. I hope you're okay. Which the people stop moaning about the refugee program. They all must be paid. Yeah, no, it continues. But the problem is it's being reported to. So let's see what Rebecca Davis has here. She's getting a lot of coups here. The organization aims to bring Kenyan workers to South Africa to process Afrikaner refugees. They're not Afrikaner refugees. Why is she hell-bent on that? Until she changes her tune, I'm going to keep banging on that nail. They're not Afrikaner refugees bound for the U.S., laid off more than 100 South Africans last year. So what? Church World Service organization tasked by the U.S. State Department with processing Afrikaner refugees. They're not processing Afrikaners. They're processing South Africans, Rebecca. You are just stubborn as an ox, You're just insisting on falsely reporting things. That's fake news. Retrenched 100 workers in Pretoria in June last year. CWS is now applying for volunteer visas from the Department of Home Affairs for 30 Kenyan workers to come to South Africa to work for the Afrikaner Resettlement Project. It's not an Afrikaner Resettlement Project. Fake news, Rebecca Davis. Fake news. Fake news. This calls for another video. I'm going to have to make a video about her tonight after I do the Ronaldo one. Raise the question of why is it not attempting, instead of to employ locals, it's made redundant last year. Well, maybe the reason they're not employing locals is because they found out the locals were disloyal and told things to the South African government. Maybe that's why they were made redundant. I don't know. A new office in Pretoria. South Africa enhances refugee support programs for cover 8 countries, they said in their 2015 report. So they went back and found their 2015 financial report. Working with the U.S. State Department, we continue to increase the number of refugee cases we process each year, serving more than 40 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. An old job ad confirmed that the office was based in Pretoria and stated that it was tasked with the preparation of refugee case files for adjudication by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. That's exactly what I'm saying. So all these whiny Afrikaners who are complaining, who are the Kenyans to decide on us? They don't. See? These are the people applied. This is what their job was. Their job was the preparation of refugee case files for adjudication. That's where the decision is made by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service officers, not by Kenyans, as well as the out-processing and cultural orientation of all approved cases. Now, the cultural orientation, they try to start in South Africa for the people who are refugees from other countries, but not for South Africans. They're not going to do that there. Daily Maverick understands staff were informed midway through last year that the volumes of refugees being processed from sub-Saharan Africa were no longer high enough to warrant a permanent office. Exactly right. We weren't bringing enough Africans in through South Africa that it warranted having an officer. It was a waste of money. That was, of course, when President Trump's African refugee plan was not even a glimmer on the horizon. Well, President Trump doesn't have an Afrikaner refugee program. Tens of thousands of Afrikaners to be brought over. Now CWS finds itself in need of staff numbers to process the Afrikaner refugees to be resettled. And a Reuters exclusive last week from Ted Hessen, a friend of mine, makes it clear why it would need as many as 30 workers for the task. Reuters, through interviews with U.S. officials, has determined that the Trump administration ultimately plans to bring potentially 30,000 Afrikaners for resettlement. No, 30,000 South Africans, Rebecca Davis. This means the scale of the task ahead for CWS is considerable. Despite the fact we got Afrikaners whining that only 30,000, she's pointing out that's a lot of people, and she's right. Reuters also reported the Trump administration looked to admit only 40,000 refugees in total for the year ahead, meaning that fully 75% of the available U.S. refugee spots would be reserved for Afrikaners. No, reserved for South Africans. Comes the time the U.S. State Department has announced a stop to all visitor visas for individuals from Gaza, which had previously been used for emergency purposes to treat injured children on the grounds they could be used by Palestinian refugees. What does Gaza have to do with this? And Rebecca Davis reveals who she really is. Gaza isn't germane to the conversation. Student visas also been stopped. Why don't you mention that? Visas from several countries have been stopped because where you have to have a deposit for places like Malawi and Zambia or Zimbabwe. Why do you mention that? You choose to talk about Gaza. Gaza has nothing to do with Africa, nothing to do with South Africa. It does have something to do with U.S. immigration, but those other ones are much more pertinent. But you see, Rebecca Davis reveals the leftist that she is by focusing on Gaza, which is not even remotely, thank you for stopping that annoying drill or whatever it was, not even remotely tied to this story. You see how leftists do this stuff? They obfuscate, they distract. As the Daily Maverick has reported, the Afrikaner refugees in the first 2 resettlement groups have not always found the grass on the other side to be as green as they may have hoped. Well, first off, that's a silly statement to make. Of course, some people are not going to be happy. Life is not perfect. Some people expect the world to be handed to them. So should we take the whining and moaning complaints from people who refused help when they were offered help to be legitimate? No. Some people just like being unhappy and be able to complain about it. The Reuters exclusive fleshed out the picture, pointing out that after taking office, Trump slashed refugee benefits. True. Refugees have been eligible for cash and health care assistance for 1 year, but under Trump, that has been reduced to 4 months. That's a lie. Refugee cash assistance is available for 3 years, but we've never budgeted over the past couple of decades. Typically, it lasts 7 months. So it wasn't being paid for 1 year under Biden. It was being paid for an average of 7 months. Trump has reduced that to 4 months. So there's a reduction here, but there is also factually incorrect stuff here. If Reuters reported that, or she's misreporting that, I forget what the article said, either Ted Hessen is wrong, or she's wrong, or they're both wrong. Reuters reported an email sent by one Afrikaner family to the Department of Health and Human Services, which is responsible for the refugee program in the U.S. How does Reuters have an email, a private email from a South African sent to the Department of Health and Human Services? What treasonous bastard is exposing PII, privately identifiable information, or personally identifiable information? That's a crime. It is illegal to expose personally identifiable information to the press or to the public as a government official. Someone in the Department of Health and Human Services needs to be prosecuted for criminal acts. You can't do that. You can't share that. Now that's a story in itself. I would never write to them. I would never trust them if they expose the emails I sent to them. They're not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that. Crows. Now I got crows hanging around. Scruffy looking crows too. 2 of them up here on the pipe. Between the pigeons the size of rabbits, and now I got crows up here. U.S. Public Broadcaster National Public Radio previously had sight of the documents given the Afrikaner refugees upon arrival. So get this. Now, Rebecca Davis reports this, and it's factual, but there's no context, okay? Well, let me tell you what they're given. This is exactly what every refugee is given, whether they're from Somalia or from Congo or from Myanmar. It doesn't matter. In it, they were told, you're expected to support yourself quickly in finding work. That's what we expect of all refugees, but we know that the rate is about 50% for most refugees because most of them are culturally unaware of America, don't speak the language, and don't have the skills. Many of them never even seen an automobile or electricity before. It continued. Adults are expected to accept entry-level employment in fields like warehousing, manufacturing, customer service. You can work toward higher-level employment over time. I'd be surprised if that was actually handed to a refugee, but I'll accept that was handed to a refugee. But the point is that, look, this is another nothing burger from Rebecca Davis. I don't know what her deal is. She's doing reporting and she thinks she's doing something good, but she keeps getting things wrong. And at some point, I'm not going to give her free pass saying it's the editor who's putting these words in quotations. Refugee is a legal status. If you don't like it, that's too bad. It just shows your ignorance, your inability to process the fact that the refugees. Also, your constant adherence to the term Afrikaner when that is not what the program is for. That is not who it's for. Stop the lying. Read the website. If you don't believe it, then you should say in there, the U.S. Embassy website said that this is for those of Afrikaner ethnicity or racial minorities in South Africa who feel they've been oppressed or fear future persecution. However, we've seen that most people going over are white Afrikaners. Now, that would be a true statement, but that's not what's done here. This is misleading. Why do they do it? To discourage coloreds and Indians from applying for the program, and also to lie about it. And also because Rebecca Davis and her ilk at Daily Maverick like to put a racial slant on everything. It's all about race, not about race. It's about racial discrimination, which South Africans and the leftist side of the camp can't bring themselves to admit that their country is extremely racist against racial minorities. Worse than under apartheid. Worse than under apartheid. If the illegal self-deport, they still have a chance to get the USA, but get deported by government. That is correct. Martin Windemere. Under the Trump administration, if you're deported, see, but I wouldn't give any of them a chance. They're all criminals. I wouldn't give them a chance. They shouldn't be allowed to come back in this country. They were here illegally, and they should pay a penalty for that. If they came here illegally, they should be booted out. If they want to give them a chance to come back, it should be minimum 3 to 5 years before they can apply to come back. Technically, yes, but many have to wait 5 years. There you go. Thank you, Arctic. 5 years. That's what I'm saying. 3 to 5 years. Trump will cancel this program. Well, the refugee program won't be canceled. It's a matter of law. The Immigration Nationality Act 1980 allows for refugees, but the president proposed a cap. Congress approves or disapproves that cap every year. So the program will survive. Whether South Africans will still be considered refugees, that could change. Trump is in office for 3 more years, so I don't know why anybody's worried about it. You got 3 more years here. Don't have work and find it very hard to find something. Very happy to have any work. Exactly, Kronya. Baron Cher says, thanks for your updates. I just trust Jesus, our future, grateful, amazing opportunity. Thank you, Baron Cher. Point Dynamite, they'll get a 10-year ban. Well, it'd be nice if they did. What's an MS team interview? Fitnut, I assume you read something in an email. An MS Teams interview. Teams is a video teleconferencing program like Zoom that Microsoft came up with. So Teams is what Microsoft uses. So the State Department has a contract. So the Teams means that you, instead of being in person, you'll be screened like this. You'll be on one side of the conversation, and the interview will be on the other side. But that's not how they're going to do I don't think that's going to do the interviews. The actual interviews, I think, are going to have to be done in person. Could be wrong about that, but the screening can be done via Zoom, absolutely, rather than telephone call. Yeah, there you go. It's Microsoft Teams. No, Teams predates the replacement of Skype. Skype was destroyed by Microsoft because they're shitheads. They destroyed a wonderful program, amazing program. They just killed it. Yes, Skype is integrated into Teams, but Teams was already there before Skype went away, long before Skype went away. Typical sort of thing where Microsoft buys software and destroys it and incorporates it into their own brand. You know, so they did that with so many other things. So many other things. Yeah, it's a face-to-face. Exactly. They that's right. They stole they basically stole Skype's code and their style, and then they bought them out so they couldn't be sued by them. Exactly, 100% right. You are 100% right. I don't know anything about the UK sending military personnel to Ukraine. It wasn't in the news today. I didn't see it. Okay, I don't know where you're getting that from. Screening is Team's first interview at embassy. Exactly, exactly. The screening. I love Skype, Julie. I love Skype too. I had it forever. Skype was great. You know, it was started in Estonia. Estonia. Yep. We use Google Meets much better than Teams. Teams feels so buggy. I used to love Zoom, but I'm not so thrilled with it anymore. Yeah, I don't like Teams either. I don't like Microsoft Teams. Google Meets is okay. Riverstream is okay. It's just, but Zoom used to be the best standard, but it's had some quirks lately that I don't care for. Kind of pissed me off of late. So I'm gonna drink a Coke here, folks. I was so dehydrated earlier from the drive. God, this guy can't sing down here. Scary experience. Say, let the mail in front of me. The guy had fallen off, and you deleted your message. Will we ever see a public announcement about Americanos working with U.S. RIP? Well, Dylan, I suspect you will if, in fact, Americanos wins a contract and becomes a subcontractor or contractor with the State Department. I suspect you will if they happen to do that. Maintenance shutdown at Mercedes. Rumors getting louder. It's permanent. I wouldn't be surprised, Janine. 2CTV regarding us and France, U.S. and France. We're not sending troops to Julie. If 2CTV is reporting we're sending troops, that's fake news. Trump himself just said yesterday that we're not sending troops. We did talk about providing air support, perhaps. Yep. UK troops to the Ukraine. Well, I didn't see that. Well, Tussi's here in the UK. Can somebody link me up with him? Tell him to link me up with him. Ask him if he wants to interview me. And I'll try to link up with him. The weird wailing in the background is some guy trying to sing down here at some restaurant or bar or something down here. But look, I mean, they got problems here too. I went to a restaurant and I wanted to go in and get something to eat, and it said, you know, after 4 you got to book a table. So I walked inside because the sign said come in and pick a table and sit down. And then the other sign they put up was temporary, says you got to book a table. So I said, is it true you have to book a table? He goes, no, it's not true. We don't have any staff, so there's no food. You can only get alcohol today. I'm like, okay, well, I wanted food, not booze. Yeah, lots of companies. So left the mall, and in front of me, a guy had fallen off his motorcycle. I stopped to help him and held his phone while he moved the bike. He seemed to be okay. All right, well, that's nice of you, Barbara. Is he strangling a green pigeon? I think he might be. Well, the crows are overhead screaming. There goes some, I don't know what the hell those are. They're not ducks, but man, they're flying fast. What the hell are those things? They're too big to be starlings. And the crows are still sitting up here. The pigeons were here earlier. Lots of crappy birds around here, man. Lots of crappy birds. OFG program will make a great PhD thesis. How to mess with a nation's head. I don't know about that. Would love to see an interview with you and Tusi. That'd be great, but someone's got to make that happen. Put me in touch with them. Taking flack, requesting backup, sending reinforcements. SEAL Team 6 air support. Delta 26. Delta 26. Series November 57. Over. November 57 is Delta 26. Over. Yeah. What is the caterwauling in the background? Over. Yeah, UK Adidas. That's what they are, like Adidas. Man, the crows and the pigeons around here, they are huge, man. I mean, British Adidas, yeah. You know, I tell you, you take a 12 gauge to blow them apart. The caterwauling is taking a break for the moment. They make the broadcast very lively. Well, the background does too, doesn't it? I mean, the lake is down here behind me, folks. Let me see if you can see the water. There you go. Right, there's the lake. Yeah, so that's the lake. Only about 4 or 5 minute walk from here, not too far. 4 people here. Wow, about 40,000. That'd be nice. Did Bob? No, I left Bob at home. I didn't want to run the risk that I get robbed or I forget him or lose him. So I thought long and hard. Bob did not make the trip. Did not make the trip. Yep. No, I haven't seen that, but I have seen on maps where it's shown the name of mosque. Yep. Frank Zeno. Never heard of him. Oh, by the way, I got recognized earlier. Did I mention that? I forgot about that. I got recognized. That was a shocker. So I was walking out of a restaurant earlier, and this woman with the bleachy blonde hair, she was walking in with a stroller, it looked like, and her husband went in front of her in the restaurant I just came out of, and she stopped and looked at me as I walked out, and I turned and walked up. I looked at my shoulder, and she looked, and she's like, Josh, it's him. So Josh and your wife, greetings to you here in Windemere. Yeah, Carolyn, I don't expect to be recognized in the streets of the UK. That's for darn sure. But that was pretty funny. That was funny. It's him. It's him. Oh my goodness. Maybe they mistook me for, I don't know, what's that guy who does that news program? I can't think of his name. Anyway, the birds. Yeah. Yeah, Bob has Pikachu's babies. Yeah, Pikachu's babysitting Bob. That's exactly what's happened. Also, the people could lose their land because some weird, now non-extinct dire wolf was released. Where? Here? I heard that story too about dire wolf, but I don't know anything about that. Oh, yeah. Don't look up without the glasses. You're right about that. Plop. It's not plop, plop, fizz, fizz. It's plop. Yeah, so... YouTube ditched me. 3 phone restarts to get back. I'm sorry to hear that, Karin. Glad to see you back, though. Wear a red suit next time. Maybe you should wear a cap or hat. You never know what will drop on your head. Oh, my goodness. Yikes. Well, yeah, I mean, it's if I walk the streets of Zurich and people recognize me, then I'll know I'm famous. I should do a German program. You know, that's what I should do. I should start doing a German program. So do a short German program, do short news broadcasts. Yeah, that would be interesting. But I'll probably get criticized for my German not being good enough. Ja, es gibt wahrscheinlich viele Leute, die nicht zufrieden, also mit meiner wie sagt man auf Französisch ist Niveau. Meine Stiefel auf Deutsch, ja, vielleicht. Happening in Canada. The view is not that great, Caroline. It's much better down there. I'll try to do a few videos down there tomorrow down by the water. See how that goes. Bob had to stay home to keep the refugees off the colonel's line. Exactly. Bob and hello. Bob and Pikachu are keeping people off my lawn. Exactly right. Yeah, take out a British flag. I'll get arrested. You can't fly a British flag. Are you crazy? You can't fly the Union Jack in the United Kingdom. You'll get arrested. I don't know about Oxford. Don't know. It took so much time to get in there last time when I went there and I saw Flushing. I had a great visit, but it took so long to get in there. Oxford's such a pain in the butt. Yeah, it takes hours of my time, and I don't know if I have hours of time on my way down to Exeter. Okay, there go the crows. Ooh, a whole bunch of crows. Like 40 crows. The ones on the roof took off. They must have been the advanced scouts. It was a scouting party. Oh my goodness, there's hundreds of them over there. I don't know if you can see them flying by. I feel like I'm in a Hitchcock movie, man. The birds. Feels like a Hitchcock movie. Get the tents ready. Colonel's away, and Bob says we come over. So just so you know, a certain bunny is willing to take bribes for the driveway. If you don't get recognized by now, there's a problem. I wish I was there to take photos. It's a White Horse Hill. You can see for like 200 miles. Okay. Someone mentioned shotgun. Exactly. It's the ANC flying flockers. That is loud, Aretha. It is loud. Yep, quite loud. They're going to be tents on your lawn when you get back. Crows or ravens? Those were crows. They weren't ravens that were above me. I couldn't see those ones. They were pretty far off. Yeah, they are hijacking murder. Well, it's no, that's an unkindness. A crow is unkindness. Oh, I love that's a great line from Longmire. When Longmire started, and Walt Longmire goes out to the scene where they found a body, and he's talking to his deputy, played by Katie Sackhoff, and he says, you know what they call a flock of ravens? An unkindness. Vinette Naidu, thank you, Colonel, for the info. I want to be in India successful so people can stop saying it's South Africa program with interview. Thank you very much, Vinette. I hope you get that happens. Yeah, but there were colors in the first group of coming over. I also know of about a month and a half ago of another colored in the Western Cape who got interviewed. Don't know his current status. I haven't got an update of him. But yeah, no, a murder of crows. Well, that's murder's another one, but murder and an unkindness, both of them work. Well, MI6, I can either confirm or deny whether I work for MI6. You should talk to the people in Australia about that if you want to know whether I work for MI6 or not. Love Wolves. Oh, Longmire was great. Yeah, Longmire's a great show. The last season was okay. The rest of the seasons were amazing. Walt Longmire, what a great show. And the Australian that plays him, Robert, what's his name? Fantastic actor. He did a series in Australia too. It only ran for one season, unfortunately. They owned a big ranch, and his family, his heirs were dying off or something like that. That was a good show. I can't think of the name, but really good show. Just want to let you know I once shared a photo with Colonel Chris. Got a T-shirt. Glad we know you. Okay, Peter. Cool. Indian color refugee interviews later. Well, they've got to show up. They've got to agree to come on. So. Sandra, what's going on? Guys, why would you all be going work over some dumb nobody racist saying the same shit? Been said for 10 years. They got views and a few rands. I assume you're talking about someone else. See, guys, that's another thing. There are a number of people that don't like me because I'm not a racist. So they try to call me a racist. It's funny, the people who are those things point the finger of blame at people that aren't, and they try to taint people. I'm not, and I've made that very clear over and over again. It's fascinating to me when you see some black South Africans who've been told BS by others, and then they actually watch my program. They're like, oh, well, you're not like that at all. No. And why would you believe that? Just because my skin is light? That's silly on your part. You should actually listen to what I have to say. The fact that I stand up for white South Africans and for Afrikaners in particular doesn't make me a racist. I also stand up for the Tswana, for the Venda, for the Basutu, for colors, for Indians. Stand up for all South Africans. But I'm not going to sit here and ignore the fact that racial discrimination is happening in South Africa. I'm not going to ignore the fact that white farmers are being targeted. Not exclusively, but they are being targeted. I'm not going to hide the fact that white South Africans are denied bursaries, denied access to university, denied government tenders, kicked out of government jobs, treated like crap. I'm not going to deny that. It's a fact. Also not going to deny the reality that many white women who serve in positions in government are constantly groped and propositioned by black politicians. And if they don't have sex with them, it costs them promotions, costs them their job. The expectation is that they're men of power, so you have to open your legs for them. Tell me I'm wrong, white South African women. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this doesn't happen. Tell me it doesn't happen frequently. Tell me it doesn't happen all the time. And by the way, it happens to black women, color women, Indian women too. But they seem to think it's a nice trophy thing to do it to white women. Tell me I'm wrong, folks. Go ahead. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me I'm wrong. What's wrong with somebody staying up for Afrikaners? Exactly, Paul. Well, my son and his wife had their interview today. Their next interview is face-to-face. Okay, Marley Quinn. See, there you go. Flock of crows can carry significant spiritual symbolism, often representing change, transformation, and protection. Reminder to pay attention to spiritual messages. Thank you, Anime. This program didn't exist 6 months ago. Does anyone have Plan B? All people are God's people. You're right about that, baby boomer dad. And Hasiki says, nope, you're right, especially in the corporate world. Sick bastards. Yeah, 100%, says Caroline. And what's really especially bad about it is they don't care if you're married. They don't care. You're still supposed to lay down and open your legs or drop to your knees and give them what they desire. That's the norm in Africa. It's not a cultural statement. It's not attacking them. It's a statement of fact. It's just a reality. People don't like it, then they shouldn't allow that cultural norm to be the norm. Ingrid says that's usually how it works. People pointing fingers at you, standing behind doors themselves, seems to make them feel important and superior. Yep. Crows, Adidas, please don't look up with your mouth open. Oh, God forbid you have to work late as a woman. Yep. What time period did they select on that statement of interest? See, you're going to try, Yanni Bosov is going to try to guess at what the time frame is. It isn't the same. I know people that have put a statement of interest months ago, and they haven't got called. I know people put a statement of interest in after that. They got called. I know people put statement of interest before that. It's a week, 2 weeks, sometimes it's 4 months. It just depends. It happens to women. This isn't in the parliament as well. Cops are the worst. Yep. See how my spelling sucks without whiskey. Yeah, it's Arctic. It's a weapon of power. Well, that's what it is. And essentially, it's coercion, basically, is rape. I mean, if you're coercing somebody to do it, it's rape. And if you do it to someone who's married, that's just even more reprehensible. Indian ringneck parrots. I haven't seen them. Yeah, Yanni's trying to parse it out. It's fine, Yanni. You can ask the question. If she wants to answer it, that's fine if she has the answer. 3 months behind, so just have faith and think it will happen. Yep. I'm going to try to buy a nice small place, a big park estate. Please educate me. Anyone here? What is the correct explanation of woke? Asking for a friend. Correct explanation of woke. Well, there's lots of explanations for woke and descriptions of it. But basically, woke means someone who believes in the nonsense that is not real. They believe in the silliness of feelings over fact. They believe in the silliness of the nonsense that's going on in this world. Perpetrating, fake genders, destroying the English language. Again, and this doesn't work in society. Try that in German. You can't take der, die, and das and just create whatever. There's no thems. There's no such thing as them. It doesn't work. You can't do that. You can't do it in English either, but people contort the world. That's woke nonsense. Do I have an idea how long security check? No, every security check, background check is different, Ian. It all hinges on your background. I mean, if you're a 47-year-old former SAPS officer, your background investigation is going to take longer than a 22-year-old, farmhand. It's just the nature of things. I mean, so as I said before, for my security clearance, which is a similar process, Windows is improving updates. No. Another time. They're going to restart my program. I don't want my program restarted. I'm in the middle of watching something. Stupid Windows. Anyway, so my clearance. So for instance, just to give an example, I had to take polygraphs, lie detector test. That's in order for my clearance because I had such a high level clearance and very sensitive. So my first polygraph lasted less than 40 minutes. 35 minutes. Boom, done. My next polygraph was an hour and a half. My last polygraph was closer to 3 hours. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I'm older and I've done more things. So when I'm asked a question in a polygraph, have you ever interacted with foreign intelligence services, which usually gets you in trouble? I'm like, yes. And then, of course, the question comes, when? Well, pretty much every year since this date. Whom? Well, let's see. This country, that country, this country, that country. Why? It was my official duties. I was an intelligence officer, liaison. I was told to interact with these foreign intelligence actors. That's part of my job. Yeah, okay, what's the name? And then if they want to, they probe to see if you're lying. What country, where, what did you do? What's the nature of it? Yeah, it's so the older you are, the more you've done. Now, if you've done bad things and you're younger, your check's going to take a while too. So it all hinges on a number of things, folks. Number of things. So there's no set thing. I mean, it's like the tax return. When I was 18, it was an easy 1040 easy. It took 5 minutes to do my taxes. Income, one source income, working in the cafeteria, minimum wage. This is what I paid. This is the tax I paid out. Look it up. That's my refund. Done. No savings, no investments, no dividends, no capital gains, nothing else. No home mortgage deduction, no credit cards, nothing. It was easy. But the longer you're around, the more you get. Alan says, oh yeah, the questions were quite in depth. Yep, especially when you're a bit older. You guys have asked South Africa what their stance is on Iran. It's still illegal to steal land, Freya. You can't occupy land illegally. It's still theft. They're just not doing anything about it. They're endorsing it essentially. Most of our South Africans you meet, to most of them you mean a lot. We appreciate what you do for us. Well, thank you, Caroline. Appreciate that. But there are those who don't like it. We haven't gotten any calls, email, nothing. Helen, okay. I appreciate where you're coming from. Did you give him a long time frame or was it a short time frame? I mean, maybe I'm just trying to 369 likes. What's up with that, guys? Hit the like button. We got this tiny little bit of super chat money. I'm gonna tell you what, guys. I'm not gonna be able to afford to fly back with no super chats. Let's stay these broom closet hotels. Oh, these broom closet hotels, man. Anyway, yikes. Alan says his top secret clearance took 2 years. Well, my periodic reinvestigation took a while. My last one was just extended. I mean, they haven't really checked my background, I think, in 12 years. They've just done periodic little spot checks here. They haven't done a full investigation because I had a clearance for so long. Woke equals Western cultural attack by communists. That's a good explanation of it. They're going to find my parking tickets from 5 years never paid. We don't care about that. Okay. Joe Amelia did an interview with an attorney regarding the, which is way worse than anything else. ESTA Act. Okay, I think I should know what that means, but I'm drawing a blank. Merlot says 35 Rand. Thank you for that. Can't do polls when Chris is on his mobile. Yeah, I can't do a poll in here. Actually, I can on my laptop. What does Fit not want to poll for? Let me do a poll to see how many have been. Okay, yeah, you guys. Okay, let's do that. We haven't got that many people here. We only got 399. Is that right? 404 currently here. I can do a poll on my laptop. It's sitting here next to it. So start a poll. Have you been contacted by RSC, PRM, or typing's bad there? Come on. Okay. Okay, there you go. All right, 3 options here, folks. There you go. Poll is up, and some super chats just came in. Let's see who the super chats are from. Merlo gave 35 Rand. Thank you for that. Leave the rugby chicks alone and bunk with Hendo. Well, Hendo is nowhere near the rugby. He is a long way from the rugby. Selling everything except for what fits into 2 suitcases, says Rand. Okay, Phoenix says 140. Thank you for the 140 Rand super chat so I can fly home. Please go back so you can have Zulu on your stoop. Caroline. It's 70 Rand. And Lynette gave 21 Rand. Ooh, my goodness. And 10th super chat. Thank you for your 10th super chat, Lynette. Sylvester Spleen says, woke started out, I think, back in the Obama era. Yep, by young lefties calling themselves what they meant when they woke up and how evil it was. Exactly. That's how it started. They said, we're awake to what's happening, the evils of capitalism. I saw this TikTok thing that I think it was James, what's his name? The actor who posted that thing. And it's some leftists like, I have 2 PhDs, one in soil agronomy, and they cut the science money. No, they cut the grants, and I can't get a job to save my life. And this is terrible. This evil capitalism. Capitalism. No. You had a job because of socialism, because of communism, because of government-sponsored research. That is not capitalism. You had a job. It failed. You're not getting money from the taxpayer to do stupid research. It means nothing. If the research is so important, to go in the private sector and work for Monsanto. Do the research there. Do something for them. But she doesn't want to move. She's not capable of moving. She's not capable of working a full week. And she's upset that the taxpayers aren't going to fund her lavish lifestyle anymore because she has 2 PhDs. Very typical woke, lazy tard. Unwilling to work full time. Unwilling to relocate. And then whining because her grant money was cut off. That's woke. That's lazy and woke. Wow, we just lost 25 people. Sione Blom, thank you for your membership. Sione Blom. Not Sione, Sione. And then what else we got here? I missed something else here. Hang on a second. Where the heck is CFD Jaeger? 5 months as a member. Thank you for that. Okay. We're ready. Okay. Rudolph says, hopefully our financial situation is going to improve soon. Would love to support you. No, guys, look, again, let's talk about super chats. If you can't afford a super chat, please don't do it. Please don't do it. I mean, the super chats are lovely. They're helpful. They do help. I do spend a lot of money doing broadcasting and doing this, and I'm going to have to lay out some more money probably later this year to build a new computer because mine is now approaching the point where it's going to reach its lifespan here soon. But don't if you can't afford it, don't do it. I've never asked for anybody to do super chat if they can't afford it. Don't put yourself in a bind. I do appreciate that people do that, but I don't want people to give up money that they need. If you can afford to do it, it's something you do because you enjoy it. That's great. I'm really grateful for it. What you really can do is if you have the day to watch all of my videos, at least part of them. You don't have to watch all of them. Every view counts. It draws more viewers. It pushes it up on the algorithm, and if you watch the ads, that generates ad revenue. Just a little bit for each one, but when there's tens of thousands of them, it adds up. Debbie Fox, 350 Rand. Thank you for that, Debbie. Appreciate that. I'm at the South Coast, Colonel, in northern England. Huh? You're at the South Coast in northern England. That's nowhere near the South Coast. Oh, the Colonel's in northern England. Oh, would somebody ask you, Hendo? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Hendo's way down there. I went down to visit Hendo before. And Hendo and I went to London. We linked up in London. That was an awesome. That's one of the best days I've had. Hendo, we had a blast. I had a little trouble finding a proper Indian restaurant, but we finally did find a really good one. I've gone back there since then, Hendo, and had meal. I don't know if either one of us can afford to eat there anymore with the prices now, but that was great then. Yeah, Hendo and I linked up in London, which was great. After we went to a German restaurant in Poole, which is pretty cool. So you're saying it took 13 months less time to get a security clearance than the average American applied for firearm tax stamp. I have no idea what you're talking about. 13 months less. I know you're addressing virtual Western Cape, but I have no idea what you're talking about. A firearm tax stamp? What the hell is that? I love a firearm tax stamp. I got a freaking arsenal. Any tax stamps. Clients are canceling. No, that's fine, FitNut. Support me by watching. Reply to email the Americana sent. Will my interviews take longer? If you don't reply, they might take longer, Dylan. I don't. Erica just gave 350 Rand. Oh my goodness, Erica, thank you. Home safely, hip pain free. Well, I tell you what, I took the anti-inflammatory today for the first time, and I'm glad I did. So I have enough to last me throughout the trip now because only give me 30-day supply. So I took the first one today, and well, I've had a little bit of pain here and there, but it's not been constant pain. So the inflammation must have gone down. So that's good news. Doesn't fix the problem, but it takes the pain away, which is good. So it's nice to have something that's not a pain reliever that relieves pain. Email received today. Go for fingerprints exactly 1 week from virtual interview. There you go. Okay. The real great collie, but other people it's been a month. So that's why Yanni Bosov, that's why. So there you go. The real great collie. So if you're going to go by his experience or her experience, and you say it's going to be 1 week, then you're going to be disappointed. That's why I say don't focus on it. Don't obsess and focus about that stuff, okay? All right? Okay. Yeah, Heno and I, it was fantastic. If you get YouTube Premium, it's a life-changing experience, says Leslie Ann Moon. And I get money from that, by the way. So don't feel guilty if you're on YouTube Premium. I do get money from YouTube Premium if you watch my content. Yep. Okay. Really interviews for them. Where the hell is the funding coming from? Did anyone else get email like that? What do you mean, where's the funding coming from, Dylan? What do you mean? The funding that was frozen has been released for this fiscal year. It's back. It's not. It was frozen by Trump for 90 days, and it's been restored. It's there. The fiscal year doesn't end until September 30th. The fact that they didn't spend a lot of that money means that they have money right now. They should have spent the money in February, March, April, May, June. They didn't. They start spending again until June. So June, July, August, September, they've got money. They didn't have it when the first batch came over. They're contracting. USA is using excellent work. We know them. Okay. No, Katya is not involved with Amerikaners anymore. No, she stepped away from Amerikaners. Sam Boos is running that. Oh, well, background checks holding in Pennsylvania take 48 hours. 48 hours for a firearm. 48 hours. That's it. Piece of cake. Done and dusted. 48 hours. That's all it takes in Pennsylvania. All it takes. Malcolm Stark. Oh my gosh, Malcolm, what's going on? Fresh pineapple. Okay. Why keeps pushing turmeric? I always thought turmeric was a spice, and apparently people use it as an analgesic. Okay. Are worried and also does not want to admit it. Retha, I don't know where you're at, but I just would recommend you quit putting them in. It's not wise. Why would people? Why did somebody think that putting multiple statements of interest in gets you anything other than pissing people off? I mean, I'm trying to understand the logic, folks, because people did it. Why would you do that? Why would people do that? I don't understand that. Do you apply to university, same university 3 times? Did you improve your chances? I don't really understand it. 11 years. Well, you're in South Africa, Eli. That's why. Who did I let escape? Alan, I didn't take the anti-inflammatory because when I went and saw the people who wanted to cut my hip out and put in a piece of plastic in there, their argument was that we'll give you the anti-inflammatory for now. I said I'm going to be gone. I'll be gone for more than 30 days. Oh, we'll give you a 60-day supply. So that was at the Orthopedic Institute of Pennsylvania. Then I drove over to the barracks where the pharmacy is, and they closed on me early, so I had to come back the next day. When I went back the next day, trying to make a second trip in there, burn more petrol, more time, waste more of my time, and take the journey over there. When I went in the second time, they were open this time, and they gave it to me. I said, well, that's not many pills. She said, well, that's what the script says, 30 days. I'm like, 30 days? 1 pill per day? I'm supposed to get 2 months. So I didn't start taking the pills until after I got here, and I could get on a cycle where I could take it in the morning. So now I'm taking it in the morning, and then when I get back to the States, I'll just take it around noon every day because it's 5 hours difference. So, but I'll be out of pills by then, so it won't really matter, will it? Amerikaners, the funding, well, who said they're getting paid? Who said they're getting paid? You're making an assumption there, Dylan. It's a fair assumption to make, but who said they're getting paid? Whiskey is expensive. Okay. Al Murray, hi everyone. Okay, see you later on. A friend put 2-3 statements in his call twice, and it began the process. Pretty frustrating. Yeah, I had to explain it. It's a bad move. I told people not to do that. People did it on their own. No, they didn't give me the injections, Xavier. They refused to give me the injection because I wasn't a patient. So they made me get X-rays. They made me sit down with a PA. After the PA saw me, saw the X-rays, then the doc came in, and doc said, "Yeah, no, you can't get an injection. Yeah, that's dangerous." I said, "What do you mean it's dangerous?" "Well, they have to put you under." I'm like, "Yeah, they do it all the time." Then, "Yeah, they have to put you under, and they have to use an ultrasound." I said, "Yeah, I know," and that's how they guide the needle in. I think I'd like to try that before you rip my bone out and stick in a piece of freaking fiberglass in there like a freaking Boeing 787 Dreamliner. I'm not an airplane. Okay. I had 4 fractured ribs. Nothing you can do to try not to laugh. Oh, that would be terrible, Garrett. Yeah. I am the Lake District in the UK. That's right, Ascari West. I'm in Windemere. The lake is just behind me there. Just behind me. I'm back to walk down here shortly as soon as I hang up. Okay. Near their MRI and then a spinal fusion. Oof. That's not pleasant. That is not pleasant. Castor oil and cloth left on the hip should help and try. Yeah, everybody's got all these home remedies. Thank you. Got your passport. Whiskey. Whiskey. Yeah, no, I'll pass. But I do need to drink fluids. Boy, I just drove straight through today. I did stop at one time to get a Frappuccino, but when I went to the Wii a little bit earlier, it was like, ooh, man, you are dehydrated, my friend. Check out Keswick. Okay, where's Keswick at? Let me see where that's at relation where I'm at. Keswick. I don't like all the tourists. Oh my gosh, it's insane. This is insane. The time to come here must be in the wintertime because there's too many damn people here. Keswick. Keswick. Let me see where that's at. Okay, that's at the top of the lake. I think I have, let me see. Yeah, I have to go that way anyway. I have to go to Keswick anyway. And then drive up to Carlisle. Yeah, so, yeah, I have to go by Keswick to get out of here. Because I'll go north and go to Castlereagh and Keswick. That's another lake, though. And then from there, I'll head over towards Penrith, up to Carlisle, and over to Newcastle upon time. Or I'll come down the other way. I'll just decide. North Pennines, I got to go around that. So, yep. Anyway, so it's kind of weird driving in the UK, especially up in this area here, because it's like being in Pennsylvania. You got York, Carlisle, Lancaster. So you got the House of York, House of Lancaster. In Pennsylvania, we have Lancaster and York. They're two neighboring counties. York is the capital and the county seat, and Lancaster is the county seat of the other county. And they have the War of the Roses, the white and red roses, where they mimic the English royal families. So pretty funny. Good evening, Jan Balaki. Hidden promotion possibly. Will be head of department soon, but I'll take that USA ticket tomorrow. Half my current income, so I feel safe. Gotcha, Jason Bernard. Yeah, no, the argument from the very beginning for some extreme right-wing Afrikaners is that the only Afrikaners will take up this offer will be the poor, the lazy, the uneducated, the toothless oaks, and those from squatter camps will be the only ones who will actually take advantage of this. But that's not the truth. That's not what really happened. There are plenty of dollar millionaires, South Africans, who if they can get out and take this program will take advantage of it. Yeah, I think, Krista, it's working because I haven't been suffering, but we'll see. If you ever said that you had no passport in your statement of interest, even though you put in zero points, does it make a difference? Hell no, it shouldn't make a difference because they realize that you have to apply for one. So, I mean, they can't predict what Home Affairs will do. Some people get their passport in 4 days. Some people will have to wait 2 or 3 months. So that shouldn't make a difference. Also, if you put 0 to 3 months in your statement of interest and you haven't been called yet, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be called. They've skipped over you. Remember, we're talking about tens and tens and tens, possibly a couple 100,000 of these statements of interest they have to go through. Yep. And if you're like one of our viewers who's put it in 3 times, Rita, and a couple others, imagine how many they got. Imagine if 200,000 Afrikaners and coloreds and Indians put in statements of interest, and they all put 3 in. That's 600,000 they have to sift through. Starting to get a picture here, guys? Starting to get a picture? Okay. Hey, Sanchez, what's going on? It's not chilly. It's nice here. It's South Africans be wearing puffer jackets, but it's nice here. The Harley headquarters. Yes. I don't know if it's a headquarters, but there's a Harley factory in York, Pennsylvania. That's correct. Yep, I drive by it frequently. Yep. Would also like to know about no passports and the state interest. I have one now. But it's fine. Don't worry about it. You don't have to orangutan juice. You don't change anything. When they call you, you tell them you have a passport. Simple as that. Okay? Okay? All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Be sure to hit the like button. Thanks for tuning in. I'll have some videos up on a few more topics, including Ronaldo. So tune in for that, and I'll publish them later tonight. It'll be late, so if you can't watch them tonight, watch them tomorrow. And be sure to leave a like if you don't mind, and a comment doesn't hurt too, okay? Yeah, I don't care for puffer jacks. They look kind of fruity. Do the math, people. Majority of you are in for a long wait. Potentially, Alan. Okay, where's the Colonel's K-Way jacket? That's at home. It's not cold enough here. Tore ligaments in my left ankle. Oof. Gosh. Huh. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Take care. God bless. Be sure to hit the like button. Thanks for the super chats. I do appreciate those as well. They're telling me to put an ad in right now. I'm not going to put an ad in. I'm going to wrap up. Okay. You guys take care. God bless and have a good night. Cheers.